The
discussion is what about boundaries in relationships? Is it okay for your partner to post revealing photos online? What is a boundary? What is controlling? For example, a lot of men don't want to date women who go out to bars and nightclubs. For some men, it's a boundary of, hey, I don't want to date a woman who.
Then don't.
So, but also, I think
but that's exactly what but that's what Jonah Hill said to her.
But
if you don't want to be with a man who has these types of boundaries.
I'm under the
But
impression
Jonah Hill
that
decided to see her Instagram and everything she posts and decide to start a relationship with her.
Sure.
Why start a relationship with a woman who even does that to begin with? There's plenty of women who don't do that. How Michaela said she has maybe a one-piece photo. He should have went and found a woman like Michaela who's not posting those things. Why try to find a partner to change them? It might be different if, I mean, not even this day and age, it wouldn't even happen, but why
because if she's
choose?
posting those photos as a single woman trying to get attention, and then she's willing to stop doing that once she settles down with a man. Is there an example we can think of a woman who posts like that and then gets in a relationship and decides not to?
I think there's a fine line between it, because it's like if she's only posting maybe something that's a little bit tempting and she realizes out of respect for her man now that she doesn't want to do those things, sure. But a woman who's consecutively, almost every single post that she has is thirst trappy, the odds of her getting a relationship and stopping that cold turkey, I feel like, are very rare. If anything, we see time and time again men being upset when their woman decides not to stop doing those things. Just as like if you go out, if you start dating a man who's known to be very flirtatious and talk to many women, and once you guys start dating, he continues to do those things, how can you be so surprised? Like, he showed you who he is.
But okay, so I mean, your recommendation is that you're saying, the boundary should be expressed immediately. So like, let's say you're going on a first date with a girl who has bikini photos on her Instagram. Mm-hmm. Do you think you're really going to make a strong case on a first date to instantly be like, hey, I want you to take your photos down? Like, be honest.
That's what I'm saying. He
that's
shouldn't
not
be on a
going
date
to work.
with her to begin with, is my point.
You can only make that sort of play when you've built a bit more of something, a bit more of a relationship. There's no way I'm going on a first date with a girl and she's immediately going to fall into my frame of, hey, I don't appreciate you having these photos out there.
I totally
And a lot
agree.
of people have been brainwashed into like, let's just post super promiscuous photos. That's totally cool, blah, blah, blah. So
I mean, I agree that you can't bring that up on a first date or in the beginning. That's why you shouldn't date that woman at all. Like my posts, maybe some of my posts you might think is promiscuous, but they're not. I post myself. I'm a young woman, but I have, I think, maybe a bikini picture from 2018 up. I don't post like that, so my boyfriend wouldn't have to worry about it.
I agree with you on that, because I feel like if you wait until after you start a relationship with this person, you're asking them to change.
Like, how do you know they're going to do it?
Yeah, originally, I feel like you should be searching for the person. For me personally, I'm searching for the person I want to marry. And so I wouldn't ask them to immediately right off the bat change. Like, if they're posting revealing stuff, so be it, you're not the person for me kind of thing, and move on. Like, that's not the person I would be looking for.
I disagree. I think that people are absolutely willing to change for people. I think that what Brian said about boundaries, anyone who thinks that setting a boundary the moment you meet somebody and they're just going to be like, oh, okay. Like, no way. It's never going to happen. A lot of times it takes okay, put your foot down and put it in their head. And by the way, as a man who has dated women, a lot of times when you do that, the first reaction is highly emotional, highly defensive, right? Because essentially when you set a boundary, what are you telling someone? You did something wrong. Yeah. That's essentially what you're saying. And maybe it's not wrong, at least it bothered me. And a lot of times when you tell a woman that they bothered you, they immediately say that they are bothered by the fact that you were bothered. Mm-hmm. And their feelings that are hurt are now more important than your feelings that are hurt. And another one of the big reasons why I want to talk, because I think one of the other things that you had a problem with was just the medium by which he set the boundary, right? You're like, it should have been a more just responsible, in-person, easy conversation where you just sat down and hashed it out.
I mean, that's things are messy though. I mean, there's always the ideal of what a conversation should look like. I just saw from the limited text messages that from both directions, it was quite off the rails.
I'll even say that
but it's also
with me and her, and this isn't even about setting boundaries. It's every once in a while, me and her might get into just a heated back and forth, and then I'll go to the gym or something like that. Mm-hmm. I take a second, and rather than sitting down and being okay, rather than say something that might get her a little upset, and then we have to deal with being upset. Why don't I just think about what I want to say, send a text that's like exactly what I want, what I wanted to say back to her. And then she reads it, goes, oh, hearts the message. I come back, hey, we're good now? Yeah, cool. Guys will use that like written medium to just get every single thought out before you can even have the emotional reaction to interrupt him in his chain of logical thinking. That's not to say women aren't logical. You guys are still logical thinkers. But you do have a tendency to let your emotions guide the direction of the conversation. So that's one of the big reasons why guys will use this written medium to get these points across. So it comes across as like highly controlling, very odd, very robotic, but that's just him being like, you know what, I've tried to have this it might have been, I've tried to have this conversation before, she doesn't freaking listen to me, so I'm just gonna spell it out, and if she wants to go, she'll go, if she wants to stay, she'll stay. That's, as a guy, I can 100% see it going
That's
that way.
fair. I don't know you, but this short time that I've been sitting with you, I have a feeling that however you text your girlfriend does not look like Jonah. And
We're
the
also
text
a lot
that I
further
saw.
along in our relationship than they probably were.
So I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. There's just a difference between
Raymond
boundaries and
DT
control.
donated $100. When you start going from initial dating to a steady relationship, it's also typically expected, unless otherwise specified, that the relationship be monogamous. As they become more serious about one another, they should start changing their behaviors.
Yo, Raven DT, thank you very much for the TTS. And just one note really quick on this, and I'll let you continue. Yeah, I mean, prior to dating, so Jonah had no problem with her engaging in what he considered single behavior. I think even the text revealed that he had initially even liked one of her surfing bikini photos, whatever it may be. But once they started dating, he wanted her to act in a way that he thought was consistent with her being in a relationship. So what was once acceptable when she was single or at the very beginning of the relationship soon became not acceptable when he actually wanted to become serious and just see her or have the relationship develop. So, and continue on with your point.
I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm in agreement with that. What I was seeing in the text messages was Jonah Hill, instead of standing like firm in a boundary and like communicating, it just, from what I saw, looked like it was coming from a place of him being a little controlling, which control is just different from a boundary. And I also saw on her end, she was definitely being manipulative. I mean, you can see that immediately, but I don't have like big passionate feelings towards them. I don't know them, but
all right.
But yeah,
Well,
but
we
I
can
did.
move
But
on.
I wanted to say that because I
Okay.
didn't get to say it.
All right, fair enough. All right, we have Ninja Smokehouse. Hey, thank you, man. I'm married now. However, when my wife met me, I was sleeping with other women. Should I still be able to? She met me that way. Good point. No, people should change from doing single things to relationship behaviors when off the market. Have you not changed for a boyfriend?
Of course.
Exactly.
That's not what I'm stating at all. I just don't, I think what I'm trying to say is the issue might be having is some men find the way women act on Instagram should be different in a relationship versus not, where I'm saying is most women are acting the same on Instagram, whether they're in a relationship or not. So like a woman who is posting consecutively in a thirst trappy manner or such is probably going to want to continue to do so. And, you know, a woman who doesn't, like, I would get if it was, she was posting a certain way and then you guys are dating and then she starts posting these more provocative images and you're going to be like, okay, like, you know, but I just don't see how Instagram could be a detail. Like, yeah, maybe not going out and clubbing all the time. Yes. Obviously not sliding into people's DMs if she's doing that thing or responding to abundance of messages, of course, but I just don't personally know any woman who change the way that they post on social media, depending if they're in a relationship or not. Because remember, social media is forever. Like, social media is forever. So just in case she deletes it, I mean, the picture's still around. What makes a difference if that bikini picture was posted last year versus now?
I would
I have
Big
plenty of friends that change the way that they behave on social media when they're in a relationship versus when they're single.
But like, what are they what are they posting
Sure,
when they're
bikini
single?
ass photos, like
Okay,
very
maybe because me
promiscuous
personally, I
types.
wouldn't do that in a
Sure,
relationship
but-
or not. And I feel like even if they're not doing, like, I feel like that still says something about her if she's doing that while single.
Sure, I completely agree that like I wouldn't do that as well. So like value wise, I'm definitely different than those women, but there are definitely things no matter how small or large that they are, there are behaviors that all of us engage in that we would do while we're single that we would not do in a relationship and should not do in a relationship.
Yes, but I just think it's risky behavior to get into a relationship with somebody, have the time go on, and then be like, okay, this is not what I'm okay with. Like, I think you have to realize there's always a chance for them to not want to do it, and that's kind of what we saw in the Jonah Hill situation where she didn't want to do that.
Sure, but it's completely reasonable for him to ask her not to and expect her not to, because that's not behavior that aligns with being in a relationship.
I get your point, but it's like, if that's his views and alignment, he doesn't want his woman posting that on Instagram, whatever. But I mean, everyone still knows that that's your girlfriend that was just posting her ass 2 months ago. So like, if you're worried about an image and how she's portraying herself, and that's so important to you,
well, but you're still advertising yourself as single. If you're posting bikini photos on the internet while you're single, Instagram is the largest dating app in the entire world. It's the largest online dating platform.
I think at the end it just boils down to the fact that he probably didn't feel respected.
Yeah.
Like in our relationship, granted, we are in a weird situation where I have male followers on my platform, but every single thing I post, whether it's a photo, which I rarely post, or a video, which I post every day, he watches every single thing before it goes up, even stories. Like, I run every single thing I post by him, not because I'm like, hey, do you approve of this post? No, everything, it's just a respect thing. If he doesn't like something I'm about to post, I don't post it.
I get that, because I've done the same thing. That's not my point at all. My more so question is, because we mostly see this on the male side, right? We don't really see a woman dating a man that has like maybe pictures on the beach being like, I want you to take those down and stop posting that.
I can give you the male equivalent in a second.
Okay, but it's just, my whole point is, it is kind of weird to me. Maybe it's not a point, but overall a question I have, but how a man is comfortable with his girl posting all of that before we're together, but now that they're together, out of respect, you don't post it anymore. But like, I mean, because why? She looks like a hoe? I mean, then your girl's still known as a hoe.
Well, I know, because
she looks single.
Exactly. If you're posting that while you're single, I'm not saying that I encourage it, but it is quote unquote acceptable because you are advertising yourself as single. If you continue to post those photos while you're in a relationship, you are still advertising yourself as though you are single.
Okay, I think that's also differences. I've never, like you guys say, Instagram is the biggest dating app in the world, which I definitely see how it is, for sure. But I've never used my Instagram, single or not. I've never been like, I'm advertising myself.
Sure, neither have I.
My Instagram is more, I mean, people probably don't believe it here, but mine's more of like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm up to, this is my life. I've never been like, ooh, I'm going to post this because this is like sexy single. Like, they're going to see me. So I guess that's why my mind is a little bit more different, because I don't think of social media in that way.
No, absolutely, and I don't either.
Because like, if I want to post a bikini picture, it's not because I'm like, ooh, I'm looking sexy and I want to post this. It's because I was at the beach. I live at California. I go to the beach every single day almost. I spend a lot of my time here. So
sure, and like, there's a difference between posting like a group photo of you and your friends at the beach versus you posing in like a promiscuous pose and posting that on social media when you're
like me going like I'm smiling, whatever, from the front. But yeah,